Yes. Raise your hand if you agree with that. Good, that's correct. So there's his $20 startup fee plus his 5 cents per minute. And for part B, Connor?
G of x equals 0.10x plus 5.
Can I do 5 plus 0.10? I'm just keeping it consistent. Okay. So pretty straightforward because this is linear growth. So you've got a starting y-intercept value and then you're growing by 5 cents, 10 cents, whatever. And then not all of these, but some of these simpler ones, you start with a, they'll actually have you answer a question. How many minutes of calls will the cost of the 2 calls be the same? Did anyone do this?
Yeah. 300 minutes.
300 minutes. So you would just take your functions and set their equations equal to each other and then solve. So if I get my x's on the right, I would subtract my 0.05x to the right, my constants on the left. So I get 15. So here's like logically thinking. Here's where we are right now. By getting our x's on one side and our y's on the other, we pretty much have it narrowed down to there's a $15 difference between the startup cost. And there's a 5 cent per minute difference based on the charge. How many minutes will it take for you for that 5 cents in savings on the one plan to catch up to the fact that you paid $15 more initially? Does that make sense? And so you divide by your 0.05 and whatever Connor said, 300. Right? 15 divided by 5 is 3. Then add your 2 zeros. Okie doke. Simple enough. Okay. Number 2 is an area perimeter type of thing, which is a little bit more difficult. So I would, number 1, always recommend drawing a picture. So you have 140 yards of fencing to enclose a rectangular garden. So if you draw your garden and then label the dimensions X and Y, doesn't really matter how you do it. This is going to turn more into a system, you'll see. So just based on the fact that we have 140 yards of fencing, what equation could you write using X and Y that are going to represent the fact that you have 140 yards of fencing, Lydia? That's area. If you have 140 yards of fencing, that's the length of the fence that you have to work with. So that's going to be set equal to your close 2x plus 2i. Your perimeter, and you need the full thing. Obviously, I only label one length and one width, but truthfully, we've got X amount of fence there and Y amount of fence there as well. So 2x's plus 2y's, we have 140 yards of fencing. Now, you can't solve anything with 2 variables in it. So there's a second equation. They want us to express the area. So now, Lydia, going over to where you were coming from, they want us to express the area of the garden. Now, without that second half of the sentence, if you just wanted to express the area, you would say X times Y. Yes?
Yeah.
But our area right now, as written, is in terms of X and Y, and they want it just as a function of X. So that's where the other equation is going to come in. If they want this just in terms of X, what do we need to get rid of? The Y. So we're going to use the other equation to solve for Y. So we'll subtract that 2x over. Divide by 2. And now that we know Y equals 70 minus X, we can plug that in. And now our area is in terms of just X, like they wanted. If it said simplest form, you'd have to multiply it out, but it really doesn't say anything, so I'm fine with that. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, on number 3, I have to give you, number 3, I have to give you a couple formulas because I'm going to doubt that you know them. So number 1 is the volume of a cylinder. Does anybody know what that formula is? The volume of... That's correct. Yep. Pi r squared h. Any kind of uniform width 3D figure is going to be the area of the base times the height. You know what I mean by uniform width? Like not a cone. Like a cone, see how it gets like skinnier? Pyramids get skinnier, so they've got something different going on. But anything that's of a uniform width the whole way is just the area of the base, which is pi r squared here, because it's a circle, times the height. And then the second one is surface area, which I'm going to highly doubt anybody knows. Prove me wrong, I'll give you a bonus point. No, Ryan, I will give you a bonus point too. No, I'm going to give it to you for the volume because I don't want to be unfair. But the surface area is probably lesser known because you don't even do surface area. I'll give you a demonstration. First come, first serve. Okay, what is that? The volume rectangular prism. So first of all, pretend my cylinder has a top and a bottom. So the first question is how many surfaces does it have? 3. Top, bottom, and around the center. So you need to take, for surface area, you need to take those 3 surfaces and add each of their individual areas together. So this is easy and this is easy. Did you Google it?
No.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I did.
Don't ruin it. I saw you
You're
get
gonna
told
get-
you're disqualified.
What?
Can't trust everything he says anyway, fair. Alright, so the top and bottom surfaces are easy because they have an area of, what's the area at the top? Pi r squared, and the bottom, another pi r squared. So there's 2 pi r squared for the top and bottom. Now this surface area is going to be tougher, but if you cut down the side of a cylinder, you flatten that surface, what shape is it?
Rectangle.
Rectangle.
Right. How are you just gonna slice this shit open?
I just said, pretend this is connected, and I just took scissors and I flattened it.
I done something.
So, think about the fact that this used to be a cylinder, and I just unraveled it. And obviously, you know the formula for a rectangle area is length times width. The issue is, where did that length come from when this was still a cylinder? The circumference, yes. So this is, okay, and so that's your length, and your width came from where? When it was still a cylinder, the height. So the area of that rectangle is 2 pi r, which is a good team. Are you follow?
But I didn't do that.
So, here we go.
I didn't get
Surface area is such a set thing that you don't have to do it. So I'm going to write it here.
You need the surface area. 2 pi r squared.
Okay, so to do this problem, you definitely needed these 2. So starting with the first sentence, a cylindrical can has a volume of 22. So you would set 22 equal to pi r squared h. And then they want the surface area just in terms of radius. And right now our surface area is in terms of what? Radius and height. So the height is what we need to get rid of. Are you with me?
Yeah.
It's where we're going to use the other equation to solve for h. So divide by pi r squared. Oops, 22 over pi r squared. And then we can use that expression to replace the h so that our surface area will be just in terms of r. And then it doesn't say to simplify, but we can make this look nicer pretty easily. Over here, what's going to cancel? This is technically over 1. The pi's are gone. And then this R and one of those R's. So that'll just end up being 44 over R. So, there we go. Any questions? That's it. So what you're going to see with a lot of these is that it's, other than the linear type, which are much more straightforward, it's really 2 different equations that they give you the ability to write, but they're both in terms of X and Y. And what they'll really be asking for is one of those to be just in terms of one variable, so you'll use the other equation and substitute it. Okay? We're going to skip 4. We'll do that tomorrow. That's a whole beast of a problem. And we'll just close up with 5. You do? Okay. So you inherit $16,000 with the stipulation that for the first year the money must be placed in 2 investments expected to pay 6% and 8% interest respectively. Express the interest as a function of the amount of money invested at 6%. So if X is referring to the amount of money invested at 6%, then Y can be the amount of money invested at 8%. Does that make sense to everybody? X is the amount of your $16,000 in one account. Y is the rest, essentially, in your other account. So what do you know about the amount of money in X and the amount of money in Y? They have to add up to what? 16,000, so there's your first equation. And as far as your interest equation is concerned, if you're getting 6% on the X account, that's 0.06X. Plus you're getting 8% on the other account. They just want that interest formula just in terms of X. So right now it's in terms of X and Y, so I need to get rid of the Y. How do I get rid of the Y? I go back to the other equation and find something that I can substitute in for Y. Take that, put it down in there, and you're done. Simplest form, you just distribute. I'll do that because they probably will say simplest form. $12.80. Any questions? Okay, so your homework. I'm going to give you this worksheet. Your homework are these 2 sections, 1 through 8 and 19 through 26. One's 5 and 7. Problems, I think. 1, 5, and 7, 21 and 25. You have to do number 1, number 5, number 7, number 21, and number 25.
And if you made us do all of this, I would do it. So where would you...
Just this one.
So where would you time travel? Or teleport?